Hello, lovelies! Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. Right off the top, there are birds chirping and lawn work being done, so if you happen to hear any mowing or tweeting, that's what's going on. I don't think my phone will pick up on it, but just in case it does and you hear any like rumbling or anything in the background, that's why. The windows are open because it's hotter than a Wookiee's undercarriage in this room. But the weather's been like, Mother Nature needs to go home. She's drunk. Yeah. So we don't have the AC on yet because I feel like as soon as we do, then the weather's right back down into the teens and it's kind of excessive. So we've just been opening and closing the windows and trying to make that work. Yeah. But enough rambling. Let's get into this actual video and what it's about. Okay, so I'm still going with the like mental health May kind of loose theme for this video. And yeah, because it's fitting. It's still Mental Health Month. I think this past week was Mental Health Week in some, if not all parts of the world. And I'm still struggling. Yay. So, something that I like to turn to when I'm struggling is my coping kit. I mentioned this in a video about 2 years ago, and that was it. It was in my mental health favorites video, which I will link above and down below. I mentioned my coping kit in that video, but I didn't go into what is actually in this kit, because that video was already getting long. And I was planning on coming back to it, and then it slipped my mind. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to walk you through what I have in this kit. And yeah, I highly recommend that if you struggle with any kind of mental illness, or, well, you don't even need like a formal diagnosis, because everybody's got mental health. So if you find any of this stuff potentially helpful, if you're like inspired to, you know, grab some of this stuff yourself, I highly recommend having things to, you know, help with grounding, focus. Hopefully this will be educational and inspirational. You don't need a kit that's quite this big. I've been collecting things for a while, and this is probably excessive. There's not everything in here gets really used, so there's probably too much. But I will share what I personally have in my kit, and hopefully that will give you information and ideas for things that you can put in your own kit. So to start with is the tote, I guess it is, itself. Whatever container, it can be like a closed Tupperware container, it could be an open container. You don't even need a container. We'll get to that. That's just what I have. And I like this because it's got pockets, 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 lots of little divided areas for stuff. So, to start with, I'll show you what I have in the big pockets. Okay, so up first are my papers. And I like having these specifically because I struggle with self-acceptance and self-validation. So I like having this kind of stuff because it gives me that external hit that I need when I'm feeling like I suck and everybody hates me. And so examples of that, so you get a clearer idea. I have this issue of the Lush Times, and the reason I have this is because that me. I made it into the flyer, which I thought was really cool. It's kind of like, I'm famous. I know I'm not really, but you know, it makes me feel that way. So I have that. I also have cards, a birthday card, an anniversary card, and a Halloween card. So to start with, these two are from loved ones. I'm not going to open them up because you don't need to see their personal messages. But yeah, I like these because, in particular, these two have personalized messages that my younglings and my husband wrote in here. So not only, you know, are they, that's a cute cover, that's sparkly, but inside, you know, they've got little messages that remind me that, yeah, you know what, I am loved. I've got tangible proof that people love me. Halloween card, and actually this envelope, these are pretty cool. These come from an organization called Letters Against Depression, and basically it's what it is. So you sign up if you're interested online, and I'll leave a link down below. And you can sign up to either be a letter receiver, a letter writer, or both. And if you want to be a letter receiver, they have like a little questionnaire that you fill out with information about like who you are, some of your favorite things, hobbies, activities, a little bit about what you're going through, if you have any mental health diagnoses, and then the organization matches you with people who have either similar life experiences or similar hobbies or interests, and that person will write you a letter. But it's done anonymously, so people who sign up to be letter writers will be given your information, not your mailing information, but like the questionnaire. They'll write you a letter, send it back to the Letters Against Depression like headquarters, and then from there they send it to you. So your mailing address is secure with the organization. The people who write to you, you know, doesn't get handed out. But yeah, that was pretty long-winded. But just to say that I really like Letters Against Depression because it's like that external validation, but with an added element of strangers. You know, like these people, the person who wrote the letter that's in here, the person who sent me this card, they don't know me. I'm a complete stranger beyond what I filled out in the questionnaire. And yet they were moved to write something personalized to me. They sent me, you know, kind words and well wishes, and I think that's really cool, because sometimes you can get hung up with the family stuff of, well, you know, they have to say nice things because they're family. These people don't have to say nice things, but they do. And so that's a little external validation too, that like a complete stranger cares about me. That's pretty cool. In this little pouch, which I made, one of the first times I sewed a zipper and crushed it. Anyway, so yeah, I made this little pouch and I had no idea what to do. So I have used it for my coping kit, and in here, so something I used to get sometimes were buddy boxes from Blurt Foundation, which sadly is no more. But in one of the boxes, they had these inspirational cards, and these are all quotes. These cards in particular are all quotes from like superheroes. We have here a quote from Professor X and Superman and the Flash. So I like to hang on to those because, you know, sometimes you need a little uplifting, and it's cool to be uplifted by a superhero. I also have photos, which I'm not going to show you most of these because they do involve people who, you know, don't want to be online. But some of them, these are photos from special events. Like, there's me. That's from honeymoon with hubby. I also saved, those are Coco taxis from Cuba, which, at the time our life flashed before our eyes. Hubby was sure we were going to die a violent, watery death. It's funny now because clearly we survived. But yeah, so I keep that because it still makes me smile years later. Oh, this is from when I won the limbo, and I was about 2 months pregnant there. That was also from the honeymoon in Cuba, and I won a bottle of rum, which of course I didn't drink at the time, but we definitely brought home, and I enjoyed when it was safe to do so. And then I also have some pictures of my younglings in various situations that make me smile, so I can look back at these photos and, you know, remember points in my life where things were good. And that's a reminder that, you know, just because things might be poopy right now doesn't mean that they always will be. On this side of the pouch, I also have mints. I originally got these because I was afraid of bad breath. That was a social anxiety fear of mine. Stocked up on mints for that reason, but I also found out that peppermint or any kind of like spicy, so I also have like cinnamon and there's spearmint, but any kind of like spicy minty can help with grounding. It's something that you can focus on to keep you in the now. Sour is another thing, so I want to get some sour candies to put in here, like some lemon drops or something to suck on. And I think some of these I'm going to end up putting like in purses so I can have stuff out on the go. That's another thing. You can put some of these things in a purse or a backpack for, you know, when you're out on the go, because as helpful as having a coping kit in like a central location, this I keep in my closet, so it's always available. But, you know, if I happen to be out, if I'm on vacation in another city, or even if I'm in town, but on the other side of town or whatever, I can't readily access this. So it would be nice to have, you know, some of this stuff in a purse. So I'm going to take these out, put them in my purse. So yes, mints or sour candies are very good for grounding and keeping you, you know, in the moment. I also have a lotion. It can be any kind. This one doesn't particularly smell or anything. It was just, I have a crap ton of these. They were samples. You can also get, sometimes I'll put lotions in here from hotels. You know, we never use the lotions in the hotels, but they're perfect size for putting in a purse or in my coping kit or in a backpack. My knuckles tend to get really, really dry. They crack, they bleed, and I don't even need to pick them to bleed in the wintertime, so it's really good to have lotion everywhere. So I've got one in my coping kit. Speaking of dryness, chapstick. This one smells good. I have a chapstick everywhere. In my kit, in every single purse, in my bedside table, in the studio. I hate having dry lips. And yeah, I struggle with dermatillomania or skin picking. So when my lips get dry, if they get crusty, I tend to pick at them and then they bleed and it just gets messy. So chapstick helps to combat that before it even gets to that point. So I like to have this everywhere. And yeah, so that's it for that side. In the other large side, I have 2 tins of putty. This one is a purple glittery putty. And then in here, I have some rehomed silly putty. And this is a sparkly gold. I love this stuff. I didn't realize it at the time, but one of my first fidgets was silly putty. When I was a kid, I had an egg of silly putty that I kept in my desk drawer and frequently just pulled it out and played with it. This is one of my favorite things to do, is to pull it apart and knead it. It works air into the putty, and then as you squeeze it, you get the little crackles and pops as the air bubbles inside the putty pop. And it's a cool sound. I like that. I like silly putty because it warms up a little bit with your hands, but it doesn't get really goopy like slime does. It's nice and firm. So it can be like a tension, stress release. It can be something that I don't have to pay attention to. So this would be good like on the phone. I don't have to pay attention to this, but it's helping to get rid of some extra energy. So I can focus on what I'm doing on the phone, or if I'm filling out emails or whatever, if I have to listen to something. But it's also something that I can pay attention to. If I'm struggling to stay in the now, then I can pay attention to what I'm doing with the silly putty, depending on how I manipulate it, the sounds that I make. I could play with this forever. So yeah, the silly putty is an example of, you don't need a whole big kit. Just, an egg of silly putty in a desk drawer, or, some other fidget if you like something different. As long as it's somewhere that it's easily accessible. So if you want to put, in a desk drawer or a bedside drawer or a purse, a backpack, a pencil case, a school desk, anywhere where you can easily grab this kind of stuff, really helps. So even if you grab only one or two things and you put them in places where you can easily get to them, it can be really helpful. You don't need to have a whole big kit like this. But if you do, here's some other examples, other ideas. I also have a couple of poppets. The first one I got is this one. Daughter calls it the waffle. It's very simple, but ooh, so satisfying. If you like popping bubble wrap, I highly recommend getting one of these. And they're like everywhere now, because it's that same kind of satisfaction of bubble wrap, but it's not wasteful because you can just keep popping over and over and over and over and over. And then I got this one for Christmas one year. I really like it because it glows in the dark. It also has a very nice pop. And I can use this one in one hand. So I could put this in a purse and take it, to pop on the go in the car or whatever. These, because they make noise, might not be good for, public settings on public transit or in school or anything like that. But for home use, very satisfying. I also got a fidget spinner. Remember when these were all the rage? They're still cool. They're helpful for fidgeting, for stimming, for getting out extra energy. I don't remember where I found this one, but it's one of those diamond painting kinds. So I got the stick on all the little gemstones on both sides. And when you spin it, look at that sparkle. Isn't that pretty? So I not only get mesmerized by the spinning motion, but also the sparkle. And you can do little balance tricks. And so yeah, this is another something that you can do in one hand. You don't need to pay attention if you're on the phone or you're emailing or, doing your homework. But you could, if you need it to, like, focus on, where you are, what you're doing. It's tangible. You can feel it, you can hear it, you can see it. It's a little slice of reality that can help ground you in the now. I also have squishies. Do you remember when these were all the rage? I don't remember where I got this one. It was from one of those squishy websites years ago. This one I got from the Dollar Tree, though. So don't know if you can find them as often anymore, but multiple price points. These are excellent. And you can make your own as well. Actually, I have a water bead stress ball. I have a tutorial here on the channel. I'll link it up above and down below as well to check that out. It's a simple little craft that you can make yourself, and it does the same kind of thing. It's just, you know, a little squishy, a little stress relief. I like these ones because they're nice and firm. Kind of get a bit of a hand workout. These are nice and small, palm sized. So again, I can take them with me, or I can use them, you know, here at home. I really like to take this little guy when I go traveling. It helps when, you know, I might be in the car and a little bit stressful if we're going somewhere busy like Toronto. Traffic can be a nightmare. And this is just good to, you know, someone cut us off. Oh crap, I don't know where we're going. This just helps to, you know, get that doing something. When you know, feel completely helpless, this can help a little bit to make you feel like, you know, I can do something. And yeah, so I like squishies. I also have my little Luna head. And this I got in a blind box. She's kind of the same kind of thing, a squishy on a little ball chain. So sometimes I'll like attach her to a purse or my keychain, take her with me. And same kind of thing, I can squish. But she's also really soft. So it just has a really nice feel. It's very comforting. Just have a little palm-sized stuffy. Speaking of stuffies, I have 2 that I keep in this kit for, again, cuddles. This really helps with, you know, healing the inner child when you're feeling, when I'm feeling, you know, triggered by past trauma. These can really help to soothe the inner child. So I have my little Ditto Chew that I got in a blind box, and my little purple unicorn. This was a Valentine's present, and I still have the tag here because there's a little message from my hubby inside, which it's got the, you know, validation that someone loves me, as well as being soft and sparkly and purple and fluffy and very healing. Or it could, these are great travel size. I can put one in a purse and take with me. If I need a little cuddle when we're like on vacation or whatever, I can pop this little guy in the suitcase or in an overnight bag. And if I just need to, I got a little inner child healing, soft soothing. So, yep. Okay, I also have my fidget maze bracelet. I have a tutorial on how I made this. I'll link it above and down below. This is just a simple tube with 2 fabrics sandwiched together and a bead inside, and then just a bunch of lines sewn that don't go all the way across, so I can move the bead through the channel. This one is really simple. You can make it more complex if you want to, but I don't think it's needed. And it's just done up with Velcro, like so. Just a cute little cuff. This is really nice. Super quiet, so I could, or anybody who had one of these, you could wear it, take it to school, fidget at school. This would be good on public transit for a quiet, incognito fidget, you know, on the bus, on a train, on a plane, in the car, whatever. Okay, so that's everything in that large pouch. Yes. Okay. Now moving on to the little pouches. This side is my noisy fidgets, and that side are my quiet fidgets. So we're going to start with the noisy ones. Starting with the biggest, a little paddle ball with a little inflatable, like a mini beach ball for a little healthy aggression release. And I like this one because it's Ninja Turtles theme. Ninja Turtles are awesome. So yeah, I think this is pretty cool. Just a little something that you can whack on when when I'm frustrated or angry or whatever. I can work through that emotion in a healthy way by beating on this little beach ball instead of, hurting someone else or myself, which I'm more likely to do. In the other side, I have this keychain. It was a gift. It's too heavy though for keys. Like, this is already pretty beefy. If I were to put other stuff on it, I feel like this would be way too heavy. It would be too cumbersome to use. But I really, really like it because it's got all the evolutions of Bulbasaur. If you didn't know, Bulbasaur is my favorite starter Pokemon. Actually, he's my favorite Pokemon. Completely. Full stop. But anyway. I love that sound. Sometimes I just like to... Yep. So in case it hasn't become obvious already, the important features of things to put in a coping kit, if you just want the bare minimum, you want to focus on your 5 senses for grounding. And obviously those include sight, smell, taste, hearing, and touch. This is touch and hearing. I mentioned the mints for taste and even for smell, or sour things. I use chapstick for smell. You could also put like a roller ball. So if you have an essential oil or something like that that you like to smell. Touch would be, the soft, hard, sticky, any of those tactile sensations. Sight, anything that's, flashy or pretty. Anything else that I have on the noisy side. A bag of rocks. These are specifically, I have this rock that says Friends. It's a little worry stone. Very smooth. The Friends part is etched into the rock, so you can feel the texture on that side, or the smooth on the other side. This was given to me by the wife of my husband's best friend. I also have a piece of snowflake obsidian and a piece of hematite. I really like the shine of that one. So any kind of like smooth rock, that's another tactile. So that's something that you can quietly, if you have anything like this, a stone or crystal or anything, this would be another thing that you could easily put in a purse, a backpack, heck, in your pocket, and just something to fidget with, get out that nervous energy. It's also, nice and hard. When you first touch it, it can be a little cool. So it's got those sensations to, keep you in the now. And then if you happen to have 2 or more, they make a nice sound. I just store them in a little pouch. And something else I have is this little clicky clacky thing. It can be manipulated. You're kind of limited in how you can manipulate it because it's, in a closed circle, but it still offers a little bit of stimulation and creativity. It's something that can be one-handed or two-handed. It's got a very satisfying click. I wouldn't recommend something like this in a school setting because it can be a little noisy, a little distracting, but for home use, it's quite effective. I like that. Now for the quiet side, starting with this deck of cards. This was something that I got in a blurt box as well. No, I don't think it was. It might have been the same box as the superhero cards. I don't think it was, though. Anyway, this is just 54 cards, but instead of your usual suits, it's got suggestions. Things like listen to a podcast, treat yourself to some flowers, get some fresh air. I like this, even if it's just sitting on your doorstep or by an open window if you're, in an apartment. I think that's pretty cool. And what you can do with these is, every day for 54 days, you could just pick, one off the top or whatever. Or you could give them a little shuffle and pick something randomly. But they're just, little ideas for if you're under, some stress, maybe you're struggling with brain fog, you can't think of ideas to, help yourself get some self-care. These can help give you a starting point. And then some of my quiet fidgets. And these are nice for, again, popping in a purse or in a pocket when I go wherever. Because these are quiet for like school, meetings, public transit, that kind of stuff. You're not going to bother anybody. The first is this, I don't know, it looks like a finger trap, but it's sealed on both ends, and there's a marble in the middle of this neon green mesh. You can squish it accordion style. You can move the marble around inside the mesh. And that's basically it. It's very simple, but it's rather effective. The mesh it's a plastic mesh, and it's just got a nice, smooth, gently textured feel to it. I also like holding it like this and then shaking the marble as long as I can hold it before it falls in on itself. That's pretty cool. I also have a little mini couche. I love this one because sometimes pain can be a way to focus. And for anybody who struggles with self-harm, something that I've heard recommended is if you wear a elastic or a hairband around your wrist, you snap it. It can give you that sensation of pain without inflicting damage. My go-to is this little mini couche, which is made of like a stiff plastic. And what I like to do is I put it in between my palms and roll it around while pushing quite hard. And I get that it's kind of painful, but not really. But it gives me that same kind of sensation. So when it's hard to explain, but it's like when I'm particularly numb, and I'm not really feeling anything and I need to be reminded that I'm alive, I find this really helpful because it's like, yeah, that kind of hurts. Okay, yep, I'm still here without inflicting harm on myself. And then I also have a tangle. This one is really popular. It's a little closed circuit. You can pull them apart, but I don't like to do that. I find if you pull them apart and put them back together, eventually they don't click, hard and fast. It's hard to explain. They kind of get loose, I guess. But yeah, I particularly liked this tangle. There are many different kinds. You can get them with different colors. Some have like embedded sparkle. I liked this one because it has the different textures, different bumps and ridges and smooth spots. And so it's just, as I'm fiddling with things, it's a little different every time depending on where, I'm squeezing, moving. It's got that tactile. I just like it. Plus, it's the colors of Loki, who clearly I like. And yeah, these are all quiet, so Again, I would recommend for school, transit, meetings, that kind of thing. And I like this as well because it offers a little bit of like a puzzle challenge to try and figure out how to get it to go back to how it was packaged. It's got moving around and like, haha, like so. I just like to store it like this because it's nice and compact and it's just easier to pop in the pocket. That is my coping kit. All the things that I currently have in it, as well as a couple recommendations for things that I don't currently have in it that you might want to consider for yourself. I hope, lovelies, that the lawn mowing and bird chirping hasn't been too distracting. Yeah. I hope things get better soon. For me and anybody else who's struggling. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found some value in this video. I will see you in the next video. Until then, stay safe, stay fabulous, and know that you're loved. Bye.